Hello, hello, hello. We're back, Derek and I, mostly Derek. Say hey, Derek.
What's up, guys?
All right, week three fantasy outlook is amongst us, and week three standings, top five, Bodenators, Chris Dustin, total 178 points, 85 points last round. Sugarwater, Chris Clark, 168 points total, 91 points last round. Third place, Rocket Rivas at Big Vic by Big Vic, 167 points
I like that.
total. What?
I like that name.
Yeah, Rocket Rivas at Big Vic. 95 points last round, and congratulations to you, Big Vic. You were the high scorer last week. You inched me out by one. Um, Fourth place, Daggers FC, Chad Arnett, 81 points last round, 166 overall. Fifth place, Chris Adams, Mo Molino, 165 points, 71 overall. That's the top five. And now honorable mentions. Me, of course, 94, second highest scorer last week. I moved up from 24 to 6, so I made a big jump. 164 points. Then going down the line, Sean Gerd from City Soccer Talk, 80 points last week, 160 overall, is in 10th. Derek, the league host, 79 points, 159, is in 11th. Then, there's lots of people I talk to on here all the time. I'm not skipping any of you on purpose, but I'm just going all the way down here to 22nd place, Orlando County SC, Christopher Whalen, 79 points, 145 overall.
We
And
love you,
then
Chris.
we love you, Chris. Exactly. And then, I just got to knock you because it's fun. I know at the end you'll probably be ahead of me.
Oh
And
yeah.
then we'll just jump down here back to the end. We'll go the last five, pretty much the same as last week. Uh,
Right.
Ian Kirch, 63 points, 104 overall. Orlando Lions Den, Benfica JJ, 55 points, 96 overall. Jeff Thompson came up to me at the tailgate and was like, "Don't mention me in last." Well, Jeff Thompson, get out of last. You're in 47th, Broken Cauldron Tap Room, 51, 89. Lisa Raymond, you 43 last week, which is a 10-point improvement, only 88 points. Oh, I guess it's exactly the same if you have 88 minus 43. Okay. Trevor Milton, 49. Steve Simos, 50. And I would like to give a big shout out to Wes Kirk. He, I think, was 49 last week, and he jumped up to 42. He had 81 points, so he more than doubled his week one score. So congratulations to you, Wes. I know you were asking some questions to Derek, and look at it how that paid off. So week three, that's the update. And now Derek will take the floor. Derek?
Thank you, Sam. Just like you said, I had 79 points last week. Honestly, should have been higher. Just like just about everyone else I know, I captained Giovinco. That worked out great. 26 points. David Villa got me 15 with his 2 goals, couple of attacking bonuses. And then Ignacio Piatti is the #1 fantasy player. You have to own him at this point. 17 points per game in his first two. What isn't this guy doing? And he gets Drogba back this week, potentially in Dallas. But yeah, what cost me this week was Dallas. What in the hell happened? The thing with Dallas is that they always have this weird, inexplicable result at the beginning of the year. They did this last year too. They lost 0-4 at home to Colorado of all teams. Yeah, don't ask me how that happened. But yeah, Dallas lost 5-0. Hedges gave me an own goal, so I got a combined 4 points from my three Dallas players. That just worked out great. That affected my score. Dream team for last week ended up with 140. So uh, I mean, 6 of the players were Houston or Montreal. So if you had those players, good for you, really. Honestly, because I don't think anyone owned Andrew Wenger before this week. No.
You think he's a valid pickup?
Uh, not without Maidana and not without Barnes. And, I've been tempted to do that because of his low price tag. But looking at MLS Fantasy Boss and on Reddit and all these communities that everyone should be looking at, he can't keep this up. He's not going to keep this up. Houston's not going to keep up this ridiculous form. So, I mean, I'd like to see Maidana and Barnes keep it up, but I'm not sure Wenger's going to. He's probably not. Whatever. If you want to pick him up, go ahead, but just know he has no double game weeks in the future, so it's not really an advantageous pick. You're probably better off with who you have. The combined average, if you take the average of week 1 and week 2, add them together, it's 119 points. So if you're in that general area, you're doing pretty well. Sam's actually ahead of me. I'm at like 159, which is about 133% of the average. So, it's doing pretty well through 2 weeks, seeing as it took me about 5 weeks last year to get the same score, it seemed. God.
And you didn't you made your big surge at the end of the season last year, though.
Yeah, I completely screwed up at the beginning of the year. Fuck you, Giossi Zardes. 3 points in 4 weeks, my ass. Round 3, moving on. It's going to start on Friday, 7 p.m. We're once again the first game as we go up to New York City FC. En la tele anonimas. Comentario por Ramsey Sandoval en español. Just, have your beer ready because Ramsey Sandoval is a jackass. But, this game last year, this fixture last year was a 5-3 game. I forgot who scored all the goals from New York. I honestly don't give a shit. Kyle Larin scored a hat trick in that game, and he is my number 1 pickup for this week. Kyle Larin. He scored 5 goals in 2 games against New York City last year.
And 3 versus Red Bulls.
Yeah, and we play Red Bulls soon, like a few weeks, I think. So, I mean, Kyle Larin would be a good pickup. Ownership percentage be damned. It's up there like 30%. But really, I don't know how you can't have him in this matchup. Even without Kaká, he scored 2 goals in 2 games. So, for New York City, David Villa is always a great option at home. I'm actually considering captaining him this week. Yeah, mostly because the rest of the caption options have really hard matchups. Giovinco's away at Kansas City, Piatti's away, and Mauro Diaz is playing Montreal. So, those are my other 3 options. I mean, I could go Sasha Kljestan, but he scored 8 points in 2 weeks. It'd be like a differential captain, who knows. For New York City, Mick Diskerud and Tommy McNamara have been playing really well of late. Way Patrick Vieira is playing, he's having them push way up the field right behind David Villa, giving them more chances at attacking, shooting, and scoring, and they have taken advantage of it. Out of the 2, I'd rather have Mick Diskerud right now. Tommy McNamara did not look the greatest last week. So,
Mix is 8.2.
Yeah, so if you're going to have one of those 2 attacking midfielders for New York City, I'm going to have Mick Diskerud, and also because he's the less likely to be taken out when Frank Lampard finally decides to get off his ass and play. As far as anything else on New York City goes, don't touch them. They're all terrible. It's Villa and Diskerud. That's it. And for Orlando, it's Kyle Larin, really. And Tommy Redding, if he plays. I think he will. Just beware, he got called up for the U20s. So if you haven't made your transfer to that, just wait for that lineup to come out. See if he's actually starting. That'll potentially avoid a transfer for you. So there's a few options from this game, but, I mean, this game's going to be fantasy gold. 8 goals last year? Yeah, hell yeah, sign me up for that. Next game, Chicago-Columbus. Chicago's David Accam. By David Accam. It's been one of the top options. I think he's somewhere around 20 points this year, $9.2. He's their good option. We saw him last week score a goal against us, unfortunately.
Accam has 21 points this year, 14 the first week, 7 last week.
I don't remember if he scored against Columbus last year, but knowing Chicago, all they're going to do is counterattack. That the thing is with Columbus is Harrison Offal is pretty fast himself. So, I mean, Columbus has the speed to match him. I still like Accam in this matchup, though. He's becoming too good to own, especially at his price point. I mean, too good not to own. For Columbus, Kai Kamara scored last week. He's another good option this week, even though they're on the road. Federico Higuain as well, and those are pretty much the two options for them. Ethan Finley, Will Trapp have not been up to par this year for fantasy. Their defense is shit, and if you really want Steve Clark, go for it, but there's way better goalkeepers out there. New York versus Houston. The Red Bulls have not scored a goal this year, but I'm not putting any of that on Sasha Kljestan. Yeah, I know a lot of people are transferring him out, but hear me out. He has not lost value. He is not. He's still $10. So that means while he's not performing above average, he's not complete.
He's 11.
Yeah, he's not complete shit either. He's not losing its value. So I'm thinking about holding him up for 1 week and seeing if New York can finally take advantage of those chances against a Houston team that's injured. They're potentially down Maidana and Barnes this week, who both got injured in their win against Dallas. So I'll give Kljestan 1 more week. They do have a double game week in week 6. I could always drop him next week for like a Pedro Morales in double game week and then pick him up in week 6. That's no problem for me, honestly. I just hope New York gets to form soon, because when they do, when they were in form last year near the end of the year, Sasha Kljestan was one of the best players in MLS Fantasy. Up there with Jovinko, getting 8, 9, 10 points a week. That's the kind of players you want. But New York's got to take opportunities too. Lloyd Sam, Mike Grell, and Bradley Wright Phillips, they've been shit. I watched Montreal versus New York. Bradley Wright Phillips did not play well. He missed a golden opportunity, kicked it right at Evan Bush. 5 seconds later, Piatti's on the other side of the field scoring. New York has got to take advantage of those opportunities, and they will score eventually. They scored 63 goals last year, tops in the league. They got to do something soon. And thank God Ronald Zubar's back from suspension, because Carl Ouimet was shit last week. Gideon Baugh had a terrible giveaway for, I think it was Oduro's goal. Either way, I don't like their defense anymore. Until they get it together, Robles isn't really an option to me. But Sasha Kljestan just needs everyone around him to start playing better, because he's getting those bonus points. And soon enough, he'll be getting those assists and the goals. Because remember, he is taking set pieces and he is taking penalty kicks. So I'll give him 1 more week and just hope to God New York scores. As far as Houston goes, I'm Will Bruin, if you really want him. Their defense gets switched around quite a bit. Their goalkeeper, I forgot their goalkeeper's name. Joe Willis, I think.
I can look real quick.
Can if you want, but he's a good option until Tyler Derrick gets back. I forgot his name.
They got Willis at 4-6 with 12 points.
That's what it is, Joe Willis. Yeah. Made quite a few saves last week in their clean sheet victory. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just hope New York gets the form soon, and so you can play Sasha Kljestan with confidence. That's all I want, honestly. Moving on. Dallas versus Montreal. I told you about Dallas last week. They had an inexplicable result. That's probably not going to happen again. I expect them to play a lot better this week, especially Hedges and Gonzalez.
They almost won the Supporters' Shield last year.
Yeah, they lost on goal differential. So this is still a good team. Pareja has mentioned that he's still going to stick with Jesse Gonzalez. So don't freak out about that, even though he really didn't play well. Neither did Matt Hedges, but Hedges is their best defender, so he's not getting subbed out either. I feel confident with both of those. They're probably not going to get a clean sheet this week, but they're not going to get negatives either like they did this week. Montreal, hold off on Drogba. Really, I don't know who their striker is going to be. They're playing on grass, so from what I've heard, Drogba's playing. But, I still hope for Oduro. He scored 2 goals this year. And he's a speedster. He's cheap, too. It's like, what, 7-7, I think? 7-2, somewhere around that.
Sure, I'll check. Montreal. Oduro is 7-7 with 18 points.
Yeah, that's 9 points a week, guys. I'm not going to argue with that. I don't know. He's paying off his salary on average. Just go with the hot hand if he starts. And I think there were games last year where he started with Montreal. And Montreal looks really damn good. Dominated both games. Piatti, Harry Ship. Uh, their defense is they're tactically strong. They're great. They got Oyongo on the right, Simon and Cabrera in the middle, and Donny Toya on the left. And forget about the fact they didn't even have Marco Donadell last week. Defensive midfielder. This is a great team, and they were actually my pick to win the East this year. So I'm eventually going to load up with Montreal as their schedule starts to lighten up and they get their double game weeks. Uh, Pretty much most of their team is options, really. Evan Bush had a great game last week, a lot of good saves, especially against Bradley Wright Phillips. He can go to hell. Yeah, but if you want to buy Lawrence Simon, Donny Toya, Harry Ship, or Ignacio Piatti, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. Piatti's the best player in MLS Fantasy right now.
And not the most expensive.
No, but he is. Key fact, Ignacio Piatti is the only player in MLS Fantasy this year to gain 0.4 in value, which was the maximum for 2 weeks. Which means he's just performed so above average that, he's eventually going to be impossible to buy. So, capitalize now. Seattle versus Vancouver. Cascadian derbies are always a good thing for fantasy. But these are two teams who just haven't performed. Seattle's offenses look like crap. 1 goal in 2 games. I'm not touching Dempsey or Morris until they start playing well. Without Obafemi Martins, they look lost.
Yeah, and they're going to snake us on Hercules Gomez.
Oh, screw that. They have injuries on the back line. I personally have a Seattle player, and I'm probably going to get rid of him this week, even though he hasn't performed too badly. Even Ships has 4 points from both weeks.
And he had a goal called back last week.
True, I saw that, and I was pissed off about it too.
Yeah, me too.
But the thing about Even Shits is that, he's at 7.5, so 4 points for him is not the worst of the world. But once Seattle starts actually playing soccer and not whatever they're doing right now, his value is going to skyrocket. He's going to get those assists. He's going to get those set pieces. So I'd love to see Even Chips turn it back around, because once they come back, I can always downgrade a player and go back to Even Chips and upgrade other positions. That's how fantasy works. So, I'd like to see Seattle get back into it. As far as Vancouver goes, they're pissing me off right now. Poor giveaways in both games for goals. Dom Dwyer's goal of the week was just an absolute terrible giveaway. Tim Parker is a budget defender, 6.5, 5 points in 2 games. What? Come on. The only reason he's still on my team is because he has that double game week next week. So he has 2 opportunities to get clean sheets because both games at home, and from what I've heard, Kendall Botston may go to international duty, but it's not like either of them are going to lose their spots. They've been dealing with depth injuries at the center back. So I played Tim Parker with hopeful confidence that he'd get more than 5 points in a double game week. What the hell just happened? Foot mob, man. Copa Libertadores on the phone. But LA versus San Jose, Cali Clasico. This is always a fun game for fantasy, especially if you're a Robbie Keane owner. If you listen to the MLS FI podcast, Guy is thinking about just rage captaining Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane loves these games, honestly. I think this was a dominant game for LA last year. Something like 4-1. I forgot that schedule. But either way, LA loves these games. They're at home. Another good thing. I haven't heard the greatest news on Gio dos Santos. Don't think he'll play this week. I'm just avoiding their strikers until he comes back, except it's Robbie Keane, who's, still struggle. They struggle on the road. They really do. They lost in the 95th minute to Colorado. Are you kidding me? But, yeah, Robbie Keane's fine. Sebastian Lletget, as long as he's starting, is fine. Steeris is an interesting option. Ashley Cole should be back, so hopefully Steers keep playing because at his price tag 5.2, he's had 14 points in 2 weeks. That's a great thing for fantasy. He's had 8 clearances in both weeks. That's 2 bonus points. I love my cheap defenders to get bonus points. Speaking of bonus points, Tommy Redding had 3 last week.
And LA's backup goalie's doing good too, Ro.
Yeah, Rowe is really dirt cheap. I think he's
4.7, and he has 15 points.
Yeah, and LA is at home where they're always better. They can always have clean sheet potential at home. If you need a cheap goalie, go ahead. But if you beware, if you have a goalie into double game week next week, don't do it. If you don't, go get Rowe or a double game week goalie. Just don't. Just beware. I mean, double game week goalie. I like Jesse Gonzalez for that next week. By the way, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, we had a fan question about double game week. I figured we'd do it at the end.
All right, we do.
Yeah. Well, they actually, keep going though. I'll look the fan question up.
San Jose, Clarence Goodson, David Bingham, Kip Covey, 4.5. Coming in for their left back injuries. They have like 3 injuries at left back. Covey performed admirably last week. I like him. I just don't like him in this matchup. So if you want him, have him as an auto sub. I'm just not starting him this week. Chris Wondolowski scored again. Surprise, I know. Really, I mean, there are better players than him, but I'm not going to argue against players who are scoring goals. And then you got his counterpart, Quincy America, who scored the greatest goal of the week. I actually voted for that goal of the week, and is somehow losing in the voting. Tell me how that happens. 35-yard chip over Adam Korosek. Whatever. Vote for that goal. That was a fucking great goal. Midfielder, Matias Perez-Garcia did not play last week. So I'm just avoiding their midfield. Go for their defense or their strikers. Portland versus RSL. Liam Ridgewell is out for 2 to 6 weeks, so he's potentially out for our game too when we play them April 3rd. So just be aware of that. I like Nat Borchers better when he's with Liam Ridgewell. Let's just say that. So I'm not touching Nat Borchers right now. Alvis Powell's always a good decision though. Adam Corp, and their defensive value goes way down without Liam Ridgewell. Let's just say that. Nagby hasn't performed to par.
Only 8 points.
Yeah, Fernando Adi had a couple bonus points this week, but I'm transferring him out.
Why?
Kyle Laren.
Okay. You just like the matchup better.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Fernando Adi, go ahead and start him. I just like Laren a lot better this week. It's nothing against Adi. It's purely a strategical thing on my part to go get Laren. Adi's done nothing wrong, but sometimes I just like matchups better, and that's what's up with Laren. With the RSL, Joel Plata has just been on fire. Forgot how many points he had last week. He definitely had an assist on the goal for Sonny. Don't know if he had an assist on the goal for Olave. Either way, he seems to be their top frontline option right now, with Movsisian struggling.
Plata last week had he had 9 points. He had 2 assists, a +2 for 90 minutes played, and a +1 for an attacking bonus.
Hey, you want that from your striker. That's always a good thing. And he's only 9.3. He's only $0.1 more than Laren.
And
that being said,
22 points in 2 weeks.
I like Laren's matchup on the road a lot better than Plata's matchup on the road. Next game, Philadelphia versus New England. Skip.
Shuttlesworth, maybe.
Yeah, Shuttlesworth. Andrew Farrell, if you really want them. Chris Pontius is probably the only option on Philadelphia. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Andre Blake had a hell of a game versus Columbus the other day. Cheap goalkeeper option. He should retain the starting job. I think he should retain the starting job. He's been excellent. He was the one who started against us last game of last year. He is a young goalkeeper with a lot of potential and a cheap goalkeeper in a starting role. Only thing is, don't expect clean sheets at all. Other than that, I'm done with this game. I don't give a shit about it.
Blake's 5.0, 11 points in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean that's fine for your goalkeeper at that price. Other than that, I'm just hoping for a random clean sheet every now and then. Other than that, New England has 2 draws. Philadelphia has a win and a loss. I'm really not interested in this game for fantasy purposes. DC versus Colorado. Axel Hoberg and Skip. Fuck this game. That's going to be a game in inept offenses with good defenses. Skip. And here's another good game. SKC versus Toronto. Dom Dwyer. Remember that guy? Yeah. 2 goals last week. Don't remember if he scored the week before. Either way, he's a good option. About $10, about the same price as Fernando Adi, maybe a little more expensive. I think he's at about 10.2 after last week.
Dwyer is 10.1, 17 points through 2 weeks. He had 14 of those points last week, so
2 goals.
So he didn't score week 1.
Bonuses, right?
2 for minutes played, 10 for goals. He got 2 points for 8 shots.
Yeah, I mean, when he's taking 8 shots, that's just extra bonus points that your team could certainly use. And I love that they do that this year with these shots because it really helps out players like Dwyer and Giovinco and David Villa, players who are not afraid to take shots, unlike a bunch of Orlando City players I know. I'm sorry, guys, take a fucking shot every once in a while.
All right.
I think Pedro Ribeiro and Adrian Venter were the only 2 that take a shot outside the box last week. But, that's just my little rant on our wonderful boys. So, SKC versus Toronto, Dom Dwyer, Matt Beasler, Tim Melia, always good decisions. Key thing is they're not even healthy yet. They're still missing Benny Foulhaber, and they're still missing Brad Davis. So I expect a lot better things to come for Dom Dwyer. And if he's in this kind of a form early, just wait till he actually heats up. Damn, his price is going to skyrocket.
All right.
And then Toronto, it's Giovinco. Even though Drew Moore and Clint Irwin are putting themselves in conversation for fantasy relevance, I still don't like that defense at all. What? I mean, they just need time to get together. That's going to be hopefully a good scoring game.
I mean, they got a couple defenders who are scoring some points too.
Damian Perkey scored a goal this last week.
Yeah, Doe shouldn't go goal chasing.
Yeah, you should never go goal chasing with the defender. Because if you do, you're screwing yourself.
All right, and then
that's actually all the games for this week. Single game week for every team this week. Double game week next week. DC United, FC Dallas, New England, and Vancouver. If you have any DC players, please drop them because Ben Olsen is a DGW asshole. So, I mean, if you really want a player, you can go with like Lamar Nagel. But other than that, just beware of rotations. I mean, you can always go on Reddit and ask people, hey, what does this coach do with rotations for double game weeks? Check the International Call-Ups board too. African Cup of Nations, Olympic qualifiers, blah 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 blah. They're all happening in the next couple of weeks. But then again, most of these teams don't play during those times. I mean, if there are good players outside their national team picture you can pick. Trust me. Most of them are Argentines, but whatever.
All right, and then we had one fan question from Craig Baker on Twitter. Please explain how in some weeks teams play twice and it only counts as one fantasy week. So a double game week, I guess he's asking what it is.
Obviously, it's where certain teams play 2 weeks. It's a really good thing. These are kind of weeks you should stack up on players from those teams and identify which teams have better double game weeks and stack up on those players. Personally, I hate week 4. I honestly do. DC United is terrible. New England has like maybe 2 fantasy options. Vancouver's just not playing well. And then you got Dallas, who's the only team I actually like. Uh, what they did with week 4 now is, since a lot of teams decided, 16 of them to be exact, decided not to play during the international breaks, they basically took the games from March 26th, which in every other year would have been its own fantasy game week, and they combined it with the games from April 1st to April 3rd. So that's the only reason there's a double game week here. Actual double game weeks are like week 6. You know, I mean, SKC plays 2 games in 4 days, 5 days. It just mostly has to do with MLS scheduling and MLS Fantasy scheduling, how they do that. I mean, they do it in Premier League too, the double game weeks, especially near the end of the year. So hopefully that answered it. MLS rules kind of prohibit me from saying any more.
I don't want to get fined.
Before I get fined.
Exactly.
Start a GoFundMe if I get fined.
All right. Well, if that is all you got, then that's. Oh,
Captain.
One more.
Did we go over captains?
Nope. Go ahead.
My personal favorite for captain this week is David Villa, mostly because we're a terrible defense, and David Villa likes scoring at home. Ignacio Piatti's been a good decision. Sebastian Giovinco is always a good decision. If you really want to go like off the groove here, you can go with Sasha Kljestan, hopefully, against Houston. Hopefully he pulls it around. Like usual, don't captain a defender or a goalkeeper. You could also go with like Diego Valeri. He might be a good option this week. I'm trying to think. Mauro Diaz was a good decision for me first week, and Dallas is a lot better at home. There's a few options. Just weigh the benefits of the matchup. If they're at home, that's an added bonus. Giovinco anywhere is an added bonus. So, personally, I think I'm going to captain David Villa, Kyle Larin, or Ignacio Piatti. But this might go down to like Friday at 6:59 before I decide who my captain is. So, yeah, but that's pretty much all I got for y'all this week. Good luck. Stop beating me. I want to move up the table. Oh, good thing. All green arrows. You just want to keep seeing green arrows. As long as you're seeing the green arrows or the neutral arrows, whatever the hell those are, you're fine. Just you know you have a major problem when you start seeing red. That's when you need to change stuff up. So if you're seeing green arrows, stop freaking out. You're probably fine. Little word of advice. Good luck this week, guys. Week 3. Remember, double games weeks 4, 6, and 8. So.
All right. Well, that's all for our time, and we thank you for your time. And we will be back every week until the end. So keep up the banter on Twitter with the league. If you want,
you all know my Twitter handle by now. You could always banter me. I'm up for a good banter. I'm going to go banter some NYC fans right now.
All right. Well, there we go. Peace out, guys. Thanks again for the watch.